So here I am. Hey, here I am. No lashes. Cried my eyes out. I'm going to turn my music off. I guess this is going to be from my vlog. I just like to do videos. I like to imagine that world renowned. People want to see me. People want to hear me. That I'm important. That I matter. That I'm beautiful. That people want to hear what I have to say. I like believing that. So, and I am special. It's been a hard day. I had a lot of anxiety today. Oh, this doesn't work. It's a pen. And I just realized it doesn't have a pen inside it. So it's your toy, I guess, miss. My kitty. Anyway, I think she's going to eat it. I don't know. But anyway, I'm really tired. I'm really, I cried so hard. I haven't cried that hard since my mom died. Well, since Kevin died. I laid on the floor at his house and cried. Today was another hard day. Now I understand why I had so much anxiety. Because I was scared of that pain. I knew it was coming. I didn't know, but something in my energy knew there was something to be anxious about. So, I really want to get up tomorrow and get my nails done. They're a mess. But I don't know. I just know, so today was June 7th. It was the anniversary 1 year of Kevin's death. I can't even believe it. Quincy and Willow are still at the house, at his house. You should see her. She throws it up in the air. I've never seen a cat like this. They're still at the house. Kevin and my daughter Willow are still at the house, but just barely, by a couple weeks, I guess, if that. As soon as Quincy finds an apartment, they'll be out of there. It's hard. When I lived there, I used to drive through Baltimore at, night. I worked for Lyft. I still do, but barely, really. I used to drive through Baltimore, and I just was so happy. It was being in the greens and living there was like my home. I felt it. Anyway, I didn't even anticipate today to be as painful as it was. It was Kevin's 1 year anniversary of his death. I was getting some balloons. I was going to have this little exercise where we wrote something on a piece of paper, like, to Kevin or whatever it was. It was personal. We were going to crumple it up, put it in a jar, and then I was going to burn them, and we were going to release the balloons. And I got balloons at Party City last night, and when I woke up, they were on the floor. I don't know what happened to the helium, so that didn't work out. And then Chris He works in DC, so he was coming here, but it's raining and traffic was horrible. I told him not to worry about it, so he didn't come. And that's okay, because he was tired. He worked all day. He gets up really early in the morning. So I convinced him not to come. And then, I don't know. It's just, I woke up, I took a nap, and I woke up crying, and it was the time of Kevin's death. And I don't know, but I believed that I channeled Kevin. And those were Kevin's tears that he didn't get to cry before he died about leaving. I don't know. That's bizarre. I feel scared of my spirituality. What if it's not true? What if I'm not channeling anything or anyone? What if I'm not crazy? Because I know I'm not. I mean, what if it's mental illness? What if it's, I don't know what it could be, but spirituality and being spiritually woke up, spiritually awakening is the weirdest, hardest, scariest thing. It really is for me. I'm so full of fear, and I'm such a control person. It's a lot of letting go of control. It's a lot of facing yourself, facing loneliness, facing rejection, abandonment, facing fears, letting go of control, trust. Oh my God, it's a lot of trust. It's a lot of unknown, foreign, weird stuff I've experienced. A lot of pain. Today I went through a lot of pain. Oh my God. I cried so hard. I'm so upset with life and with myself because I was married to Kevin 20 years ago. And I divorced him. But that's something I didn't have control of. I was a lot freer back then. Sort of, not in a different way. I self-medicated. I wasn't as aware as I am today. But, and actually it was a trauma response or whatever. And I'm not trying to analyze it or think about it and, break it down intellectually. But when my mom, Kevin and I fought all the time. It's not that we didn't love each other. It's that I didn't know how to be happy. I was wounded person. I didn't even really fully know that I was sexually abused as a kid. I don't even fully know that now. I mean, when I say no, I mean, there's always this little bit like hope of doubt that maybe I wasn't. I don't know if that's normal. But that's how I feel all the time. It's like, maybe I wasn't. Maybe it's just a dream. Or maybe it's just something I think, but never really happened. It's just... But because I don't have a full-blown memory, I've never gone into a full-blown memory. But I've had enough smells and touch triggers. And, that... Yeah. And then my mom's telling me that she was sexually abused by my grandfather, too. That was enough. She was in denial. She said, when you're sexually abused, you take better care. You're extra careful with your kids. No. You thought that you were extra careful, but you were in I don't even understand that because she used to leave me. I spent the night at my grandmother's house all the time. How is that being extra careful when... So I just took it as she was in denial. But I've had a pretty, really yucky life. I'm gonna cry. So, somehow Kevin fell in love with me, and we dated. Kevin fell in love with me. I married Kevin. I don't know if I really loved Kevin, but I did love him, but I don't know if I was, like, in love with him. It was a different love. My mom used to call him a comfortable shoe. We just fit in some weird way. And after, so we fought and fought, and one time we fought and my mom was dying, so she was my go-to person. I always took the kids and went to my mom's. That was a regular occurrence every other weekend, just about. I left my home and spent the weekend with my mom in Harper's Ferry because Kevin was terrible. So, he was terrible to be around. I was committed to my marriage. I was so committed to my marriage. I tried for years to have a better marriage and to connect with Kevin in all kinds of ways. I even DJ'd with him in order to be closer to him. And all that ended up as me being pregnant and drinking. So I tried, and I'm not totally blaming Kevin, but he didn't want a close relationship with me. And you can try till the cows come home, but when somebody else doesn't want it, there's nothing you can't, it takes two. So I called my sister, and that's something I really wish the day will come when I can tell the kids how it really was. But maybe that day will never come that they'll know the truth. Is it even necessary? I don't know. I think, but it was so painful. Kevin was so hard. He was so ugly. Anyway, I called my sister because my mom was dying. I couldn't go to hers. I called my sister when him and I were fighting. And she said, "Why are you calling me? I can't help you. Call the police." So I did. And it was all days. It was all, my mom was dying, or had just died. I think she was dying. I don't think she had died yet, but she was dying. It was a highly painful, horrible time in my life with my mom dying, and then Kevin and I fighting. Like, how could he fight with me when my mom was dying? I don't know. He didn't care. And that's what was like, it snapped me. It broke me. That here is my husband of 12 years fighting, yelling at me, being ugly to me while my mom's dying. Like, he couldn't even be nice to me while I was going through the worst time of my life. And then my sister was so cold. Why are you calling me? Call the police. I can't help you. Okay, so I did. And now it was all a daze. I just did what I was told. And it was like boom, boom, boom. Every door opened. The police said, file a protective order. So I filed a protective order. That's what they told me to do. My dad, here's an attorney. My dad, here's a divorce attorney. So I don't feel like it was all me that divorced Kevin. It was my sister, my dad. But after we divorced, they weren't there for me. And today, they never say that they contributed to, they paved the way. You know, my dad could have said, wait a minute, hold on, you're going through too much right now. Breathe. My dad could have made it harder on me. He didn't have to give me an attorney, for God's sake. It was a nice attorney, Jewish attorney. Cost my dad a lot of money. My dad gave him right to me. Here. My sister didn't have to say, why are you calling me? I can't help you. She could have said, let me come over. You guys need to work this out because you're going through too much, I don't know. She could have done anything. Yeah, come over. I'll listen. Anything. Besides call the police. But, so, every door just boom opened and I never looked back. And I was so hurt and so angry, I just burned everything. Trashed everything having to do with our relationship. when I took Kevin's baseball cards and threw them in the trash. And I didn't do it knowing how much they meant to him. I did it because I was throwing everything away. That was our relationship. I didn't know how much they meant to him. I wasn't, even in pain, I'm not vindictive. My kids don't know this about me. They make Kevin to be this god. They put him up on a pedestal like he was, they don't know how horrible he was. And they always saw me as mentally ill. Bipolar, monster, and their dad is the hero. So, I don't know. But he fought me, and I wouldn't have been able to get a protective order against him if he wasn't at fault. I told the truth. I had worked that day. It was a Saturday. I was also getting together to get, do a daycare. I was opening a daycare license in my daycare center in my home, our home. And, it was Saturday. I got home and he was fighting with me, and he got in my face. I was trying to feed Willow, and he stepped between me and Willow, and he had a screwdriver, and he was shaking it in my face. And Willow was screaming and crying, and he didn't care. I remember it plain as day, because it was I remember. Trust that part, I remember. And, I don't know if you need to tell them. I would love for them to know the truth, just because it's wrong that they've been punishing me and blaming me and against me and glamour and putting him up there. He became a good father because he destroyed our marriage, and I guess he saw that he was not good, and he changed. So I'll give him that. He changed towards his kids. And we became friends, but he always put me down when I lived with him. He always had to keep a foot on my neck. And I'm sorry that he died, and I miss him really bad because he was my friend. But now that I'm away from him for this long, I know that I deserve better than that. I know that he was toxic and abusive to me. And I pray that my kids will see that someday, just because they need to know the truth. Because I deserve that. I deserve to be honored. I deserve to be respected. I deserve the truth to come out. I'm scared because I think that they'll think that I made it up or something. But I didn't. And Aunt Debbie, she probably never say anything, because that's what my family does. They hide and sweep everything under the carpet. My dad would never say that he hit my stepmother. My stepmother would never even admit that he hit her. They won't even admit that they cheated on my mom. Pat was in my parents' house. She was a young teenage girl in the house of a married couple, and she slept with the husband. They won't admit that stuff. I know that stuff. I know the truth. My sister knows the truth. But she chooses not to. And I know that other people know that my grandfather abused me. That doesn't happen and nobody know it. People turned away because they didn't know how to handle it. They weren't strong enough to handle it. But I'm stuck with it. I was stuck with it. And I was stuck with this whole 54-year life of carrying all this stuff and not believing in myself and not having support and not having a way for me. But now, here I am. And I don't know what's going to happen to me. I believe, I trust, I believe. But I'm also kind of depressed. Today was hard. I cried so hard. I don't even know why. But I feel like I channeled Kevin. I woke up. I did some things, and then I took a nap. I was so tired. And when I woke up from my nap, I was so sad and depressed, and I didn't know why. And I started sobbing. And so then I kept feeling Kevin. I was like, Kevin, is this you? And I just believe that it was his tears. His tears of not being able to say goodbye, because he never talked about death because he couldn't. He's in denial. Like, he was a drinker his whole life. He didn't know how to process feelings or face things. I don't understand how that works, but I know as long as I don't know, it's denial, whatever that, it makes you weak. It makes you, if you're not loving yourself and supporting yourself, and if you're hard on yourself, you're actually weaker. I don't know. I have to figure that one out. But I know it's spiritual, and I know it has to do with loving yourself, and it has to do with trauma. And I know, I just felt Kevin had a lot of trauma in his childhood. So he couldn't face. So I know that, and I don't want to lose that because of being scared of what other people think. Because it's kind of crazy that I cried and they were Kevin's tears. But I've channeled before. And then I got home and I went out and sat on the bottom step out front of this house and cried my eyes out. It was so painful. I cried really hard today. My daughter Willow had posted baby videos of her when she was an infant.
Power on.
Okay. And when Kevin and I were married and we lived in Garden Way, and I destroyed everything from that place when we divorced. And but Kevin had some videos from the kids when they were little in his video recorder, and she posted it on Facebook for his year anniversary. And that's the first time I've seen anything from Garden Way. Garden Way was where Kevin and I lived. It was our house, 213 Garden Way. My mom was a realtor, and she helped us to get that house. And we got it a year after we were married. And then a year after we lived there, I had Chris. 213 Garden Way. We were married February 13th. And looking at that video and how beautiful Willow was and how little she was. And it was her and Daddy. But she didn't know how miserable he was making my life. And how bad he was in fighting with me. I used to walk away. And he'd follow. So now he's gone. Now he's been really honoring me and pouring love on me, and I really bless him. I'm a loving, forgiving person, but I also want respect and honor, and I'm going to stand up for myself and be proud of myself and esteem myself, have self-esteem. So I have to stand in the truth. I want justice for my years of suffering. Justice that only the universe can give me. And I want to be able to receive all that's mine. I want to live my best life. I deserve it. I want to be healthy and to feel good and be proud of myself. And not to be sick and not to be in pain and not to feel old and not to feel broken and not to be broke. So I hope that the next few years are the best years of my life. I hope I learn how to manifest everything I desire. I hope I get good sleep tonight. It was a real painful day. I was out crying my eyes out. It hurt so much. So, the universe wants me free. I'll be free. Just like it seemed like the universe wanted me divorcing Kevin. It was like the universe said, that's enough. And then just pushed me through every door. So I want to learn. I want to be able to trust. I want to let go. That the universe knows what it's doing with me and has amazing things ahead. And it was hard watching my kids be in so much pain and broken and not being able to help or fix them. But tears are never in vain, and tears are important. Why the hell would I channel somebody just so I could cry his tears? Well, because he was showing me how important it is to feel your feelings. It's far better to cry than to be cold, than to be mean, than to be bitter, than to be prideful, than to stuff them. So I kind of understand why he did do that today through me. And I'm honored and I forgive Kevin. I know that he was just a wounded man, very wounded, and it was mostly by his mom. Well, from his childhood, his mom had a lot of mental illness, and they didn't know how to handle it back then. And she had electric shock treatment, and I'm pretty sure his dad was, there was just a lot of icky stuff that his dad was into. His dad was a Freemason. His dad cheated on his mom. I heard some stories. Just bless my kids. Bless me, universe. I want to travel the world. I want to have all the desires of my heart fulfilled. I want my twin flame and me to live happily ever after. I want the best life ever to start now. And I feel ready almost because I just cried. Just about, I don't know if any more pain can be in there. I don't know if any more trauma can be in there. I think I cried it all out. So I just wanted to do this vlog and say what's going on in my life right now. Just to have documentation, just because this is real life. This is really what's going on. So this is me real, me raw. Now it's June 8th. My mom's birthday is June 9th. So it was hard being in his house with all those memories because Kevin loved me. He loved me more than anybody that I've ever known. And he loved me that much, yet he didn't know how to live with me. He didn't know how to let me in the way that I wanted to be in. We didn't really have that intimacy in our relationship because he had too many walls. He was too wounded, and I wanted it so much. I wanted to be best friends. I wanted to do everything together, and he didn't. So, anyway, I love you out there in vlog world. I'm not giving up. I don't care if it's my last breath. I'm not giving up. And neither should you or anybody else. Do not give up on yourself. Do not give up on the things that you want. Ever. So, that's all. That's all I have. Grateful to be alive. Don't understand why I'm here, but I'm grateful I'm here. And it is my time. It is my time to shine. It is my time for glory, for honor, for dignity, for respect, for justice.